Our quest of understanding the Danish language better continues. Today with the word spelled D-E-R, which is one of the most frequently used and most important words in the Danish language. It poses challenges to many foreigners learning Danish because it has a lot of different meanings and also has a pronunciation that people sometimes need to get used to. I have broken the uses of this word down into 10 different categories. So this video is about the 10 meanings of the word DER. Welcome to Mixed Languages, I am Mick. Let's start by talking about the pronunciation of this word. We have two different pronunciations of this one word. One is the short one, with a short vowel. I'll call it the short pronunciation in the rest of the video. Da. Da. Right? It's as if you are speaking Spanish, for example. I guess Italian is the same. If you have the word da, just say da, 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 da. Okay? And then we have the second pronunciation, which is with a long vowel, which I would call der. Der. Right? The vowel E and the R sound in the end that you know about if you've watched my videos on the R. And if you are from Jutland, for example, you might say der with a slightly different first vowel. Der. But I say der, and that's the standard way of saying this word. Der. And now let's get to the uses of this word. First category. There is. So here you already see a similarity between these two words. In the Danish language, da, der, and there in English. It's kind of the same word, right? D and TH are often interchangeable between the two languages. So there is, there are in English. When do you use it? You use it to introduce something you are looking at, for example. Oh, there is a person over there that I'd like to talk to. For example, right? So let's take an example here. Der er en flaske på bordet. There is a bottle on the table. But we would actually in Danish normally want to be very precise about the position of the object. Is it standing? Is it lying? Is it hanging, for example? So we could also say, der står en flaske på bordet. Der ligger en flaske på bordet. Okay? But still the same word, da. That's something you don't do in English. You wouldn't say there lies, there stands, right? That would sound strange. But in Danish, we do it all the time. And then we also have this sentence here. Hvad står der her? Der står, frygt ikke døden. So hvad står der her? Der står. Der står is here a specific meaning, which means it says or it is written. I think it's a short form of der står skrevet. There stands or it stands written. But now we just say der står. Okay? Hvad står der her? Der står frygt ikke døden. Second category, with certain verbs. For example, with the verb ske, at ske, which means to happen. Hvad sker der? Hvad sker der? The word da kind of has to be there. And again, here's the short pronunciation as it also was in the first category. Der ligger, der står. It's the short form, right? Da, not the long one, der. So, hvad sker der? If we say hvad sker, it's not correct. It's not a correct sentence. In English, you say what happens or what is happening. You do not have an extra subject. In Danish, you have to have this extra subject. Hvad sker der? Otherwise, the sentence is not correct. The same is the case in hvad er der galt? Hvad er der galt? In English, you just say what is wrong. But in Danish, you have to have this extra da for the sentence to be correct grammatically. So these were two verbs that have this idea of normally always being combined with the word da. You can also make a sentence with, for example, sker without da if you say it happens, because then you have a subject, then you have a clear subject, right? Det sker igen og igen. It happens again and again, right? Det sker. But normally you would use it with da. Next category, with passive voice. Example. Der drikkes rigtig meget kaffe i Danmark. Der drikkes rigtig meget kaffe i Danmark. Drikkes is a passive voice here, one of the two passive forms that we have in Danish. Here is the so-called S-passive. A lot of coffee is drunk or is being drunk in Denmark. And here we have to have the word da because we have to have a subject in a passive construction. For example, the apple is eaten, right? The apple is eaten. Æblet bliver spist. We have to have the subject. Here, there's no subject. So we have this preliminary subject. Okay, coffee is in a way the subject. What is being drunk? Coffee. But it would sound strange to say, meget kaffe drikkes i Danmark. That sounds a bit weird. That sounds a bit stiff. It doesn't sound fluid. In Danish, we love these constructions beginning with the word der drikkes. Another example. Der fokuseres alt for meget på teknologiske løsninger og alt for lidt på naturlig modstandsdygtighed. Der fokuseres alt for meget på, right? Again, the S passive. Way too much is focused. You know, that's of course not the way you would normally say it in Danish. You would probably say, there is too much focus on something. But I just put this translation to show you what the idea is. Way too much is focused. Der fokuseres alt for meget. Next category, number 4. Subclauses with hvem, hvad. Let's start with this sentence. Hvem er du? And now let's take another question. Hvad er rigtigt, og hvad er forkert? Okay? And now we'll make subclauses out of these two different sentences. The first one can, for example, be made into a subclause by doing the following. Jeg ved godt, hvem du er. Jeg ved godt, hvem du er. Right? Hvem er du? Jeg ved godt, hvem du er. And now the other one. Inderst inde ved vi godt, hvad der er rigtigt, og hvad der er forkert. So if we look at these two sentences that have subclauses in them, jeg ved godt, hvem du er. Inderst inde ved vi godt, hvad der er rigtigt, og hvad der er forkert. Hvad der er rigtigt. Hvem du er, hvad der er rigtigt. We see here that grammatically they have the same syntax. Hvem du er. Hvem kind of functions in a way like a conjunction here, for example, fordi. And then we have the subject, du, and the verb. In the one with da, we have hvad, functioning more or less like a conjunction. And then we have the subject da. We cannot leave it out here. We cannot leave it out, right? Because if we leave it out, there's no subject. Inderst inde ved vi godt, hvad er rigtigt. That's not a correct sentence. We have to have the word da here. Okay, that's an important thing. You're of course not misunderstood if you do not put the da here, but it still has to be there grammatically. Talking about subclauses, we can continue here talking about relative sentences, which are just a specific type of subclauses. A relative sentence is a sentence that describes somebody. The man that is standing over there is called Jimmy. That is standing over there is a relative sentence, which is a type of a subclause. Let's take this example here. Der er ikke mange, der virkelig er interesseret i at forstå, hvad det er, der sker for tiden. Der er ikke mange, der virkelig er interesseret i at forstå, hvad det er, der sker for tiden. The first da is not a relative pronoun. That's like we had in category number 1. There are. But then we have the two other da here in the sentence, which are relative pronouns. There are not many who are really interested in understanding what it is that is happening for the moment, at the moment, right? In Danish, we have this kind of a bit longer construction, hvad det er, der sker. In English, you would probably just say what is happening. But we have this relative pronoun da. Relative pronouns can either be da or some, depending on the sentence. Maybe I will explain in the future about the uses of da and some as relative pronouns, because it's two different types of subclauses. If you would like me to make such a video, you could let me know in the comments, for example. Let's go on to the next topic, which is, now we are talking about adverbs. So, topic 6, category 6, they're pointing at something or somebody. Example, hvor er Victor henne? Han er der. Eller, han er derhenne. Han er derovre. Han er dernede. Han er deroppe. Okay, so here we have the long pronunciation. Der. Because we are pointing. We are pointing at a specific place, either physically or at least mentally pointing at the place. And you can see that here in the sentence with han er der, we can put an accent on the E to show that we are actually using here the long form, der and not da, because there's also something called han er der, where we have the short pronunciation. Let's call that topic number 7. They're not pointing. For example, Hello, er du der? Er du der? Right? Er du der? Now I don't say er du der, but I say er du der, because I'm not saying are you there pointing at a specific point, but I'm asking are you there, like are you present? Okay, so that's the short form in this case. Da, er du der? Okay, so that's the difference between what I call category 6 and category 7. The long form, der, pointing somewhere, either physically or at least mentally. And the other one, the short form, not pointing, just kind of it meaning something like present. Are you there? And let's go to number 8, which I've made a specific category for this because this is important. It's kind of still the same idea, but if you're going somewhere, for example, let's take this sentence here. Lad os tage derhen. Lad os tage derover. Lad os tage derop. Lad os tage derned med det samme. Right? So, in this case, in English you would say, let's go there immediately. And you might be inclined, a lot of foreigners might be inclined and do it, I've seen this a lot of times with students, that they would say, lad os tage dig med det samme. Lad os tage dig med det samme. Using da, like you're using there in English, let's go there. But you cannot use da alone in this case. Da is only to be used when you are already there, not when you are moving from someplace to there. So if you're saying, let's go there from here, there, we have to use one of these longer forms. Derhen, derover, derop, derned, and there are a few others. Now you might have seen that in number 6, I was using words like derhenne, derover, dernede, deroppe, and here I'm using derhen, derover, derop. If you don't know what the difference is between these two when we use which, you could also let me know, and I might make a video about that in the future. All right? Next category, this, that. So in English we have these, we have the demonstrative pronouns, this, that, these, those, this car, that car, for example, to talk about something that's close to us and far away from us. In Danish we have 2 systems for this idea. Let's first talk about the written language one. So, right, Danish nouns, they have one of 2 different articles, en or it, right? If it's en, then the demonstrative pronoun is denne. En bil, denne bil. If it's it hus, dette hus. And if it's plural, we have the word disse. Disse biler, disse huse. This system, as I said, is used in the written language, and it has a shortcoming. It has the problem of not being able to denote if it's near or far, right? It's as if this and that is in one word. So we have created another system, which is the spoken language system, which normally is always used in the spoken language. But of course, sometimes you might also use the written language one in the spoken language and vice versa. But normally in the spoken language, we would do like this. We would take the definite article, which for words with en is den. And we would add her or der, right? Der for there, here for here. So den her bil is this car. Den der bil is that car. For the word with it, we would add the definite article for these words, which is det. We would say det her hus, det der hus. And for the plural, we would take the definite article de. De her huse, de her biler, de der biler, de der huse. Pretty simple, isn't it? Important, of course, to note that we would use the word der and here in this case with the long pronunciation. Here, der, right? Not da and not ha. The word here also has a short and a long pronunciation. Here, ha, der, da. Here's the long one, der, here. And let's take another example here to show something that's kind of the same but a bit different. Kan du huske, da ham der fra Sundhedsstyrelsen lige pludselig skulle ændre mening om virusen på grund af politisk pres? Ham der, in this case, is what we're talking about here, is what we're going to look at. Ham der, which means the guy, that guy, right? That guy is probably a good translation here. That guy, right? So we take the personal pronoun ham in the object form, not han, but ham. And then we add the word der. We could also, if it were a woman, we would say hin der. And this means, oh, that guy. You remember that guy Or look at that guy over there with the strange hat, right? Ham der. And last but not least, the 10th category, meaning at that time. Let me give you an example here. Two people trying to figure out when they're going to meet. One of them suggests, hvad med i morgen formiddag? Hvad med i morgen formiddag? And the other one doesn't have time, so he can say, der har jeg ikke tid. Der skal jeg have min månedlige indsprøjtning. Der har jeg ikke tid. Der skal jeg have min månedlige indsprøjtning. Right, so the word der here means at that time. That's, again, used a lot in Danish in this idea. Okay, so these were the 10, what I call these 10 categories. Fairly arbitrarily divided into 10 categories. 10 sounds good, is a good number, right? You could probably divide it in very different ways as well. Subdivide some of them, put some of them together. But that's the way I did it. Thanks for watching. I hope it made sense. I hope you don't mind my political statements. I think we are all entitled to our own opinion. We should really make an effort to leave it like that, to not change it into a system where people are not entitled to having their opinion just because it doesn't suit some people. Okay, have a thought about that, please. It's important. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you have any challenges with this topic or other topics. Give the video a like if you think it deserves one, and see you next time. Tak for i dag. Vi ses.